Got it. Oh, Lori, hi. Thank you for coming. It was so sweet on Shabbos. You and Bobby were next to each other in squares. So good morning, everybody. I'll ask Rabbi Ellen if you would put up the bracha. Go. And we can all do it on our own. Really, if you'd like to, I don't know if you're able to. If you're able to and you'd like to unmute, it's fine. Well, you can do it whatever version, of course, suits you.
Feminine on top, masculine bottom.
Rucha at Adonai Eloheinu Malkat HaOlam Asher Kidashnu B'mitzvot V'tzivatnu L'asok B'divrei Torah.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Ellen, for arranging the possibility of enriching our days way, and certainly starting the week off this way. Planning to speak with respect for everybody's time constraints and to allow us to have a unrushed Kaddish, especially if we can screen share the Kaddish at the end. So making Kaddish, making connection is what I want to, is what I was looking at. We can readily notice in Torah and in the current section, of course, as we head into Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, admonitions regarding our behavior. So many pieces regarding our behavior. And it is clear, and we used to hear this a lot from Jonathan, one version or another, that there is expectation that we will be off the mark. A lot. It's acknowledged as human, even if it's sort of unspoken. It's saying, I mean, really, a lot of the things are sort of obvious, right? Not to steal. Do we really need it in writing and feel, even in our minds, sort of? And the answer is apparently we do. We really need to read over and over and over because of who we are. Oh, I see, Lori, you have your, are you going to blow? Are you blowing shofar this morning?
Well, I'm going to blow, but I'll be on mute.
Okay.
And it's resin. It was a great investment at $13.
All right.
I'm prepared to do it if you'd like.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, no resins were harmed in the making.
It's a vegan shofar. Yeah.
Well, it's a really wonderful thing for us to be able to gather and then end, or mostly end, with a shofar blazon at the end to get us off to our day, whatever that means, but to have us the chance of waking up a little bit more. So I want to address something that we have not learned. Most of us has not been addressed in Hebrew school, has not been addressed for most of us in our home lives. And it especially comes to mind right now. And if you were or weren't at services Shabbos morning, and what I want to address is making amends. This Shabbos morning included the piece that instructs us to put a parapet of protection around a flat roof to protect someone from falling off. build it, to kind of build it in, to build it right away. Not to, it doesn't say this, but not, you can't see if you have enough money left over at the end to do this, right? This is a requirement, this protection. And there's tons written about it. Where Rabbi Noya went, that was really quite interesting, was to expand this and expand this and expand this to and personalize it to include protecting and taking care of our relationships. So, right, beyond the thing of somebody toy falling off the roof, there's somebody kind of falling out of relationship, out of connection, the sense of cutoff that can happen, and how important it really is to put in protections around our relationships. And actually, when I was thinking about this, while this has to do with putting a protection around as you're building, that's often the easier part in a relationship, right? Is the beginning. You know, when we're building it, it's easy to be protective of the relationship. As time goes on, a few of us may observe that things get stretched, and the protection that we have come in with around the relationship in terms of how we speak to one another and how we address one another and how we behave with one another wears thin and gets shaky. And so for many, maybe most of us, relationships are not straightforward. They're not simple. In fact, they're very often very complicated, both in person, and there's the other relationship that's going on for most of us in our heads, where we say, oh, if only I had said this, if only I had not said this, if only they had not said that, if only they had not done this. And we get caught up in these very human ongoing things that surprisingly seem to continue for most of us. So there are many, many wisdom pieces that we have in Torah and Psalms, addressing us, telling us how to behave. Humans pleading with God to relieve us of pain, of confusion. There's talk in the Psalms of confusion, being relieved of confusion. And of course, in relationships, that happens a lot. And this is a time of year where some people read a psalm every day, an extra psalm every day. So this is, for us personally, a time when we get to do a shtickle Torah in the morning here, wake up with a sound of the shofar and something special. So what I'd like to do is to give you one particular form for making amends, which I find to be very powerful. I don't know how to screen share, and my printer didn't cooperate, so I can't hold it up. But I was planning to read it aloud to you. And I'd love to give attribution. However, I have searched and searched and don't know who to thank for writing this. I've looked online. I have my copy of it handwritten on a large card. And there's no attribution to it. So if you ever find out, let me know so I can thank them. So I'm going to read this aloud and give you some time to sit with it. Number 1, confess without excuse. Be specific about what you are sorry for. Do not offer any kind of excuse. Do not let the word but or because come out of your mouth. And we all know how impossible that is. It's a high bar. Offer an apology that gets across the idea that you are very sorry and that you won't do it again. Be sincere and articulate. Note the other person's pain. Acknowledge that your actions were hurtful. Forever value. Explain that you value your relationship more than you want to hang on to your pride. And the last one, equalize, offer retribution, ask how you can make it up to the other person. So I'm going to read these, they're short. I'm going to read these again, making amends. And of course, this is not something we do only around Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Confess without excuse. Be specific about what you are sorry for. Do not offer any kind of excuse. Do not let the word but or because come out of your mouth. Offer an apology that gets across the idea that you are sorry and that you won't do it again. Be sincere and articulate. Notice the other person's pain. Note the other person's pain. Acknowledge that your actions were hurtful. Explain that you value your relationship and that you want to restore it more than you want to hang on to your pride. Equalize, offer retribution, ask how you can make it up to the person. And I was very happy to refine this. I had moved my office home, and I didn't have this in my computer. I have this on an oversized file card. And so I was glad to find this particular one because there are other versions online, but I find that this was the most powerful and personal. And I think we've all heard situations with our own kids or somebody else's where something's happened and the parent says, tell them you're sorry. And the kid says, I'm sorry. Like you mean it. I'm sorry. Because, you know, they don't know what to do. A lot of times kids are too young to really know what to do anyway. They don't always have the depth to do that developmentally. But we don't know how to do it, certainly, and it hasn't been modeled for kids very often. So this is an important piece for us to gather. And I think the one thing, if we had time to discuss, which we don't, because we're scheduled to finish at 9:15 and we want to do Kaddish. The part that I find the most interesting is not including an explanation. And that would be something I would be happy if we had the time to discuss whether or not it's okay to include an explanation. Which comes naturally to most of us. I'm not gonna initiate that. Meg, it's something we might ever do in a Rosh Chodesh group when there's more time maybe, or in some other setting, but I'll let you think about it. If you want to put your contact informations into chat, I'll copy it and send this off to you folks. If you would like your own copy of this, I will do that. I'll say that when I work with people, I show it to them, but I ask them to write, I give them a card and ask them to write it out, because it would be a lot of stuff that's printed out pretty willy-nilly, and sitting and writing it is special. So if you put your email in, I will email it to you. And to shift gears, and in closing, Rabbi Ellen, can we put up the Kaddish? And would anybody who would like to say the Kaddish? If you're used to standing, let's stand. Yiskadal, Yiskadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
V'Almad Ivrach Yerusei, V'Amlik Makusei, V'Chayachon, Uv Yomechon, Uv Chaye, V'Kol Beis Yisrael, V'Agalah, V'Zman Korev, V'Yemiru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei
Rabba
Rabbah
Mavarach
Mevarach,
Leolam
Leolam,
Maya.
Olei Omala, Yisparach, V'Yishtabach, V'Yispa'ar, V'Yisramam, V'Yisnasei, V'Yishadar, V'Yishalei, V'Yishalal, Shemei Dekudisha, V'Yechu, Le'ela, Minchol, V'Chasa, V'Shirwasa, Tush V'Chasa, V'Nechamasa, Damiran B'Alma, V'Emiru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya, V'Chayim Aleinu, V'Yakah Yisrael, V'Yemiru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Oseh Shalom B'Mramath, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'Yakah Yisrael, V'Yakah Yoshvei Tevel, V'Yemiru, Amen.
Amen.
And hopefully we have a neighbor one of you who's going to
The
give us
shofar?
tomorrow, and we're going to have the shofar.
Oh, I'm sorry. One thing for tomorrow and the next day, I'm leading art activities. Please bring some form of color and paper that you can put the color onto, whether it's watercolors or crayons, anything that you can make something very colorful. A drawing paper, pencils, simple enough. And on Wednesday, it will be a writing. So you'll bring materials to write and be able, please, to stretch your body somehow, perhaps to stand, because we'll initiate by taking a breath with just a little movement. I'm looking forward to it. Ready for the shofar?
Ready for the shofar?
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Ruth.
you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.